Biden height mocked behind the scenes despite being... Did you guys see that video of him at, was it Memorial Day? Where he tried to sit in an imaginary chair and then he got escorted out? I think that's what happened. I try not to watch much politics because it just puts you in a negative mindset, but I do catch the highlights. It's wild. No one saw it. I saw it. All right, let's get started. This one's good. It's a good one. I think this is good because Catholics love to debate and talk about this stuff, but I don't think we should argue. All right, so let's get into it. What's going on, guys? In today's episode, I want to talk about Catholic arguing. So why Catholics, in my opinion, should not argue, okay? This might be controversial. Catholics love to argue. Protestant versus Catholic debates is like dopamine to our brains. We love that. Some Jay Dyer, some Trent Horn. So I get it. But for this conversation, I want to separate like formal, like that's like debating an idea with like arguing with people. So that's what I'm talking about, the latter. All right. I want to start with a story. So I'm Catholic, but no one in my family's Catholic. So none of my parents, my brothers, no one. And one time we were at our like family cabin, and I basically was with my family, and I was talking to my brother, who has like basically the exact opposite opinions of like an Orthodox Catholic. And we were talking about abortion. So I'm pro-choice, and he's whoops, don't clip that. I'm pro-life. He's pro-choice. And I was like, all right, I know this topic, like I can crush him. And so I like argued with him. I was like, you're wrong, dude. Like, and I explained like everything. Now I had went down the rabbit hole, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have, with the Catholic arguments and like moral philosophy and stuff. So I was like ready. I knew what's going on, and wiped the floor with him. He had like no chance. He wasn't ready. He was just like basic stuff. Like, it's her body, but basically like wiped the floor with him. He felt embarrassed, and then something really interesting happened. He didn't change his opinion. He's still pro-choice, okay? This is very important. Even though I did the best I could, Trent Horn would have been clapping for me. I did very well, I think. He didn't change his opinion, okay? So why is this? Well, it's tough to win an argument, but it's even tougher to win them over. Because human beings make decisions and form belief systems mostly based on emotion, and then they try to justify it with logic. Okay? It's a very important lesson in life with humans. They make decisions based on emotion, and then they try to justify with logic. So anytime you buy like a donut, you buy it and you go, oh, well, I just needed to eat breakfast. But really, you wanted to alleviate the feeling of hunger. You were emotional. You want to not be hungry, right? So it's all based on emotion. And when you argue with someone, you're essentially saying, you're wrong, I know more than you, I'm going to show you why you're right. So it's conflict, right? And that's going to create the emotion of like defense. They're going to be like, oh shit, he's coming at me. So they're going to dig their feet in the ground, and now it's like a conflict. And then it doesn't even matter who's right. They're just trying to, remember, it's emotion based. So it doesn't matter anymore. So they're just trying to defend themselves. Okay, why is this wrong? Well, the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to develop something called goodwill. Okay? Goodwill is what makes the world run. I'll explain in a sec. So basically, like, the end goal, bring people to Jesus. Maybe the sub-goal is, like, bring them to the Catholic faith. But in that moment, the goal is to increase the goodwill bar. Okay? It's not to win an argument. It's not to look cool. It's to increase the amount of goodwill they feel towards you. Okay? Because when people have goodwill, that is what influences behavior. Okay? Let's step back from human relations and talk about businesses for a sec. Businesses give you free stuff to increase your goodwill meter so that when they make an offer, like a big sale, Black Friday sale, you're more willing to buy. Okay? They increase the goodwill meter, increase free stuff, free promo, free YouTube video, right? All of YouTube. This live, everything companies do for free is to increase your goodwill meter so that when they sell, when they make an offer, you buy from them. You're increasing the goodwill so you can influence their behavior in the future. Okay? We can use this system with humans. We increase their goodwill meter towards us. That will influence their behavior later. Because if you have, let's say they're like super pro-choice, right? And we'll keep with the abortion example, and you just argue with them. Even if you wipe the floor with them, You won the argument, you got zero goodwill. They didn't like talking to you because you made a conflict and now they feel uncomfortable. And now they're like, well, maybe he made some points, but he's a jerk. I don't want to talk to him again. So zero goodwill. But if we remember, people make decisions based on emotion, so they're not emotionally drawn to you. Now, let's take it like this. What if they say, of course pro-choice is right. Like, it's her body. What is wrong with you, you fascist? Okay, now what if we said this? Yeah, I came to different conclusions, but hey, I could be wrong. I am a lot. So let's look at the facts here. Boom. So much more chill. Did you feel that? Wasn't coming at her or him or whatever. And maybe you're just chatting. Or, you know what the best way to handle an argument is? Avoid it. So instead of being like, let's look at the facts, just be like, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I'll have to look into it a little more. But nice talking to you. And then talk about more interesting things like them, because a person's favorite topic is them, all right? When you're talking to people that aren't Catholic, your goal is to build up goodwill. So then they like you. And when they like you, they're drawn to you. And then people are going to, when they're drawn to you, they're drawn to your ideas, your worldview, your belief systems, and that's how you change human beings, okay? This is what's done to us with business when you buy things, okay? So we're just using it with human relations. Is this making sense? The reason this is so crucial, guys, is because the biggest problem with Catholic men is human relations. I'm actually making a course right now on mastering human relations because it's the biggest problem. It is, mastering human relations is the key to evangelization, and frankly, it's the worst part. It's the biggest problem in Catholic men. So it needs to be fixed. All right, and one of them is never argue. You're a rock. It doesn't matter what they say. You're just always trying to understand things from people's point of view, and then be like, oh, it's interesting. Like, you genuinely care about them, and you're like, that's interesting. You came to that conclusion. I didn't come to that conclusion. Like, what drew you to that? Stuff like that. You're just chill. You're a rock. You're not like, well, actually, clearly you haven't read Aquinas' Summa. Like, your goal is to puff yourself up. It's not to increase goodwill and eventually convert them. Is this making sense, guys? Drop a heart if this is making sense. Super duper duper important. Okay, so when you do come across this, because you will, and they're very hostile towards us, the way you figure out what you're supposed to say is just try to understand them. And then you won't have to memorize any of this. You're literally just like, what an interesting thing to say. I've never heard that you could kill a baby up to 9 months. It's like, I haven't heard that opinion before. Interesting. What makes a person say that? You're genuinely, curiously interested in them and their experiences and their beliefs. People love that. They love that. Like, that, guys, that's the secret to this whole culture war, is just us being much, much better at human relations. Because what do they say about us? What do they say? Super religious people are weird, right? Don't you get that a lot? Oh, religious people, super Catholic, super Christian guys, they're weird. Weird has nothing to do with your belief system, because there's super Christian guys, Bishop Barron, who's clearly not weird. He's extremely charismatic, extremely adept at human relations. So it has nothing to do with your worldview, and don't you dare tell yourself that as an excuse. Tell yourself, oh, I just have to master human relations. Ask yourself, when you get in conversation, I was just talking to a friar about this in Belgium, and he was like, I get really wary and nervous when a Catholic guy comes up to me, and immediately he's talking about old theological books and stuff. Because he's like, why are we talking about this right now? I just want to get to know you. I just want to, essentially, he didn't say this, but essentially shoot the shit, get to know each other, chat. You're already bringing up old stuff. And he's like, I get very wary of that when Catholic guys consistently talk about Catholic stuff. This is coming from a friar, okay? Not Joe Schmo, right? So it's a problem. Ask yourself, when you are conversing with people, are you becoming genuinely interested in their experiences? Or are you trying to puff yourself up, be like, oh, I know the answer to these things. I know about these things. You don't matter. We're only interested in them. What that's going to do is skyrocket their goodwill towards you because you talked about what they're interested in. And now they're going to have the goodwill meter filled up towards you, which is great. They're going to leave and be like, damn, I love talking to John. John's so chill. He's so easy to talk to. That they're going to feel a positive emotion towards you. And then that's how decisions change. Then they're going to be like, wow, John seems really level-headed. He's so fun to talk to. Like, I'm so surprised we have such different beliefs. I wonder what blah, 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 blah. And then they start thinking, you know? So that's kind of the overview. Heads up, I'm going to do a course. I can't remember if I just mentioned this. I'm going to do a course on mastering human relations. I'm building it right now. And I think it's going to be super helpful because, like, if you watch this course, it will give you tactics on how to improve your human relations. Because you got to understand, like, these are skills. You're not born with it. All right? And I'll be honest, after hundreds and hundreds of calls with Catholic men, I've seen from around the world what they're struggling with. And it's fear, and they haven't mastered the fundamentals. Nodding when people talk, right? Eye contact. Acknowledging what they say. Like really fundamentals. Like the fundamental way to communicate with someone is like acknowledge what they say, and then like either relate it to yourself or compliment them, and then ask a follow-up. Like if we're trying to be like machine robots with communication, that's how communication works. And so it's like, oh yeah, what do you do? Oh, I'm like a I don't know, what's like a crazy, I'm a protester. I go to a liberal college and I protest all day. It's like, oh wow, I've never heard of that. That must be tough. Tell me more about that. Boom. So you just like, and they're missing the fundamentals. But what do a lot of Catholic guys will be like, did you read St. Francis' encyclical on Thursday? It's like, dude, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And you clearly don't care about evangelizing them. So, hope that makes sense. I mean, we care. They don't care. We care about his encyclical. All right, guys. I hope this was valuable. Just a quick one today, just on summary. You shouldn't argue as a Catholic. You should try to understand them and develop goodwill, and then use that goodwill to influence their behavior in the future. All right. Hope that was helpful. Stay tuned for that course coming out. It's going to cost a very expensive $0. I'm going to give it to you guys for free because I think it's necessary for the culture. And yeah, if you got value, drop a like. I will talk to you guys later. God bless.